Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. Today I'm talking to my local GP here in Dedham. I'm also founder of Chiltern Private. This is Nish Patel.
Hey,
You
good
right, buddy?
afternoon, everybody. Very good.
Yeah, good, good.
Yeah.
So today we're going to talk about what I call the three Ps, and that's the pelvic floor, your penis, and your prostate. It's something that I think men really have trouble talking about. They find it embarrassing. So we're going to break it down to easier sort of comments and
Yeah,
easier sort of factual
absolutely.
details,
Yeah.
which I think sort of guys will sort of want to know. So we're going to start off with the pelvic floor. Now I didn't know I had a pelvic floor, to be honest with you, not till I met Nish. So let's start about the pelvic floor. Where is it and what does it do?
Well, look, your pelvic floor, we don't even realise we have it, as you just said. A lot of people don't realise it until it often goes wrong. Basically, regard your pelvic floor. It's a hammock of muscles that sits in your bladder at the bottom of your pelvis. And what it does is keeps all the other organs above it, yep, in place. And so, in reality, we don't really need it until we know
We need it.
we need it, exactly. So if we've had bladder operations, prostate operations, or in ladies if they've had womb surgery,
Yeah, yeah.
etc., all of a sudden they lose the strength of that pelvic floor and it all starts falling down south. So that's the gist.
And so, especially women, when women have babies,
Yeah.
then is that when they sort of need to start looking after pelvic floor and doing? And often when you go to the gym,
Yeah,
they have
yeah.
pelvic floor
They
exercises.
do, yeah. I mean, well, ideally, we should be looking after our pelvic floor when we start to get into sort of mid-adulthood. In
Yeah.
reality, people notice that pelvic floor for ladies, especially after childbirth, and
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
told to do our exercises. But if we try and take it a step back, we should be looking at our pelvic floor.
Yeah, yeah.
In reality, before we're thinking about having
Yeah.
children, yeah, and even with men as well.
And men, so men, it's between your scrotum sac along the bottom to your backside, isn't it?
Similar, yeah. I mean, it's almost like a network, but if you look at that part, that's your perineum.
Yeah.
Now, that's scrotum sac to your bottoms, your perineum.
And
yeah.
so, so it's above your perineum.
That's right. Yeah, that's correct. That's the way to look at it.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
you feel it
Yeah, yeah.
is you can often feel like that squeeze or try to resist the urge to pee. Sometimes you feel like you have to squeeze on that pelvic floor, and that helps to some extent.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So you've got a new machine at your clinic, the
Yeah.
Chiltern Private. So tell us
Yeah.
a bit about that.
So we've got a machine. It's called the M Seller chair, and this is a chair that you sit on fully clothed.
Yeah.
Very comfortable, and you sit on it for about a half an hour cycle. But what it does, it works with high frequency electromagnetic muscle contraction, and what this does is stimulate your muscles to a contraction, and then when it gets to a maximal contraction, it performs what we call super maximal contractions. So it's almost like you flex your muscle
Yeah,
to
yeah.
the end, and then you go even further, but many thousands of times
Yeah, yeah.
in that half an hour cycle. And so the way to understand where your pelvic floor is actually to go and sit on the chair, go through the cycle, and then you'll start to notice it squeezing areas
Feeling it.
where your pelvic floor is. Now, if you've got a strong pelvic floor, you may walk off it and go, it didn't really feel much. And that's why, because it's strong.
Yeah.
But actually, when you lose your pelvic floor,
Yeah, yeah.
and especially with ladies or men after surgery, and then they sit on the machine, after 2 or 3 sessions, they go, God, I really felt that, and I felt the exercise.
And feel
Yeah.
it's actually doing, it's worth doing
Absolutely.
something.
And then you try, especially in the chair, you try to resist the temptation for it to squeeze your muscle, and you can't, because it's the actual chair is overtaken
Yeah, yeah.
with muscle contraction. And that's the discerning part about it, that when you're trying to just relax and be completely relaxed with the pelvic floor and it's squeezing it, then
Yeah.
you know you can't overcome it. That's where your pelvic floor is.
And so pelvic floor, well then, would that help your bladder and your peeing? Does that
Yeah.
support that?
It does. It helps with a hell of a lot. So again, in men especially, it helps with the base of the bladder, helps with the muscle contraction around the neck of the bladder. So if we want to try to hold our urine in stronger
Yeah,
and
yeah.
for longer, that's what it helps with mainly in men. Helps with massaging the prostate, improving blood flow through the prostate.
Yeah.
Helps actually with erections
Yeah,
as
yeah.
well. We've got a lot of men coming in now.
I think when you get to your 60s, it certainly makes it, you certainly start struggling with that area.
Absolutely, and the hypothesis or the reasons why we there's a few out there, but we don't exactly know the exact reasons. But we think it improves blood flow,
Yeah.
definitely into the penis, and 2, it strengthens the muscles at the base of your penis, And if it does that, then when you do get an erection, it can kind of hold it in
Then
place.
the whole thing, yeah,
Yeah.
it lasts longer.
Exactly, exactly. So it's just good for your pelvic health.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So next one, prostate.
Yeah.
This is one I think that guys really find difficult to talk about, and I guess because it's where it is. It's so interesting that women have to go have pap smears and they have to go have their breasts sort of checked out, but men really struggle with going and having a prostate
Yeah.
exam. So let's just talk a little bit about that. First of all, where is it and what does it do?
Sure. We mentioned it a little bit before, your
Yeah.
prostate. Think about it. Between your nutsack
Yeah.
and your bum,
Yeah.
basically. That area, that
Yeah.
what we call that kind of perineum, that's kind of where your prostate lies. Hence, when you have to go for the old dreaded prostate
Yeah, yeah.
examination, we examine through the back passage.
Yeah.
So that's where it is. What does it do? Well, it has two main functions. It provides the fluid for your sperm to swim in, right? So the sperm is produced in your testicles.
Yeah.
It provides the fluid, number one. And it also provides a mechanism for ejaculation. So it provides that force and that push to allow the semen to ejaculate. So again, so when the prostate isn't working so well, you don't ejaculate great. Actually, when you remove people's prostates, that's when they find they can't ejaculate at all. And they, although they have an orgasm, sometimes
But
they kind of
nothing.
nothing comes out. So this is again where our chair works. We get the prostate to work well and the pelvic floor to work well. It also helps with our sexual health, sexual energy.
So they're really linked together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay, so let's now go to the penis. So the penis, testicles, and bladder. So I've linked that all together. I think, especially the bladder and testicles. Bladder, I think, for your men, when you're getting older, you start peeing 2 or 3 times through the night. And I think, as you said, going back, strengthening your pelvic floor would help all of that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. We call it. Actually, I had a great line the other day. This guy comes in to see me, and he talks about I'm peeing like the Morse code. Yeah, and it made me chuckle.
Yeah.
You know, and I'd never heard that line
No.
before, and I go, "What do you mean?" And he goes, "You know, we're a bit of dots, bit of slash, whatever. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
blanks." And so, unfortunately, as we get older, prostatic reasons.
Can't stop time.
Correct. So big
Yeah.
issue for men. Men don't really talk about that,
No.
right? And we put up with it. And actually, in my surgery, what I find generally is a lot of men are happy to not disclose that they're getting up 4 or 5 times a night.
And just struggle on. Just
Struggle on, and then they wonder
Yeah,
why
yeah.
they're knackered. all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
And they're in a mood all day, and they're absolutely shattered. And I go, well, you're up 4 or 5 times a night. Yeah, you can't be getting
No.
decent sleep. But they just think it's normal.
Yeah.
Or if it's abnormal, they've heard stuff about prostate operations and procedures, and they don't want anything to do with
No.
it. So they'll just carry on, and that's fine. But and the problem is, you get older, and it just becomes a real issue with your own health.
And you still want a quality of life.
Exactly.
And you can, and this can give you the quality of life. The information, knowledge is so important.
Yeah,
I think.
absolutely. Yeah.
So, when going on to testicles, when should young men start checking their testicles? Because I think it's really important thing. I don't need to until I'm 40, but you should start checking really from puberty, from
Yeah, you
into
should
your
be.
teens.
You should be. I think most kids nowadays at school are becoming more aware
Yeah.
of testicular health
Yeah, yeah.
generally. I think kids, especially when they get to sort of 17, 18, 19, are aware. I mean, there's this idea that testicular cancer is a cancer of children
Yeah.
in essence. It isn't really,
No.
but it's something that if you're going to be a boy and there's a problem in your testicles, the
Yeah.
first thing you worry about, oh, I've got cancer in the testicles.
Yeah.
So I see a lot of kids
Yeah.
coming in worried.
Worried.
They've got a lump on the balls. Often it's actually a skin lump on the scrotum, and it's got nothing to do with their testicles. But
Yeah.
we've got to encourage them to come in and talk if they find something. But yeah, encouraging self-examination, just like we ask women to examine their breasts.
And because a woman gets
Yeah.
to know her breast,
Yeah.
lads should get to know their testicles. So, because they're part, it's just part of your body. It's not.
Correct.
It's
Yeah.
just part of your body. And
Absolutely.
I think then once you do get to know them, you'll soon realise if there's something wrong, if they feel
Absolutely.
different.
Yeah.
Once a week and in the shower, in the
I
bath.
would say once a week in the shower,
Yeah.
give them a name. You got
Yeah.
the left one, right one, call them what you like.
Yeah.
But one hangs lower than the other. One's larger than the other. One's a bit more tender than the other. See, we all have that.
Yeah.
They're brothers. They're not twins. Our testicles.
No,
That's the way
they're different.
Different, exactly.
And if you lose one testicle, you can still have a child
You
with.
can have children.
Yeah.
You have a normal sex life. You can have erections. You'll have the same desires. So,
But if you lose both your testicles, do your testicles, do they provide the semen, or is it all through prostate?
well, they provide the sperm,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, the actual the actual spermatozoa. So yeah, you're going to be rendered infertile, unfortunately, if you lose both your testicles. But there's more problems associated with that with testosterone, etc.
Yeah.
But I mean, I very rarely
Very
see
rare.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's just talk a little bit about Chiltern Private,
Yeah.
which is what you founded. And again, that looks after both women and men. If you
Yeah.
want to go along, what services are you providing?
So look, Chiltern Private became a child of myself and my colleague here, Dr. Simajani, and we found that there was a lack of provision in this area, but generally for people with pelvic floor health.
Yeah.
And whilst they could go to their NHS doctors and access support and physiotherapy, there was a gap in the market to be able to provide some good care for these guys and girls. So it's evolved over that time, and it's just got busier week on week in terms of the fact that at the moment we're now really screening who we see and how we can help to get the best for it.
And what age group is that?
Age group at the moment, really, if in reality, most people that come see us at Chiltern Private are going to be from 40 years onwards, generally. Yeah. But we're a private medical clinic, so we'll see everything from general practice, if you've got a child with a cough and a cold, versus a woman with a urine infection. But our specialist area is pelvic floor and prostates, really.
And website, I'll put the details up on the screen, but what's your website?
www.chilternprivate.co.uk.
Okay, we'll put that up on the screen. Nish, thanks for that.
You're welcome.
I hope that was informative, everybody. I think, having knowledge so important, and hopefully we'll do a few more of these.
Absolutely.
And you can all watch them. Guys, thanks for watching the channel, and we'll see you next time.
Cheers, guys.